What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about Bimmercode on the A90, A91 Supra. This will also be applicable to some BMWs. If you guys haven't heard of Bimmercode, it is an application that we can use on our phones or tablets to code in features on our cars. And if you guys are unfamiliar with what Bimmercode is, I'm gonna leave a video card right here. Make sure you check that out. That'll give you the ins and outs of Bimmercode and exactly what that does for us. But today we're just gonna jump right into the video. I have put together a list of features that I've coded into this car that I think are the most beneficial to the driving experience when it comes to the A90 Supra. Now, obviously, a lot of us are gonna have our own opinions and tastes as to what we want our car to do, and that is the great thing about Bimmercode. We can kind of code in these features however we want our car to react and just function on a daily basis. In order to connect our phone to the car, we are gonna be using the OBD-Link CX adapter. You will wanna use this adapter if you have a newer BMW like G Series or a Supra. This is by far the best adapter out there for coding. You can also use this adapter for like F-Series BMWs or older BMWs. I'll leave a link down in the description for the OBD-Link CX adapter so you can start coding your BMW or Supra with Bimmercode as well as a discount code. Let's get into the video. All right, you guys, so we are in the car and the first thing you're gonna do is take your adapter, plug it into your OBD2 port down here. You see those lights light up. That means we are good to go. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and put the car into diagnostic mode. So foot off the brake and click the start button 3 times rapidly. All right, you guys, so once you have the car in diagnostic mode and you have your phone ready, go ahead into your settings. I like to put the car into airplane mode and then hop into Bluetooth, and you should see down below OBD-Link CX. It says connected on mine right now, but if it does not say connected, go ahead and hit it and connect your OBD-Link CX adapter. Once that finally connects, we're gonna go ahead and open up Bimmercode. So come to the main page right here and we're gonna hit connect, and then you are going to select your car. Now, yes, this is a Supra, but we're actually going to be using the BMW Z4. You can actually code more functions in the Z4 category than you can the Supra. So we're gonna select Z4, hit connect, let the application do its thing. It's going to bring up the DME, show us all of the different control units, and then we'll just start at the top and work our way down. Now, these are just a bunch of things that I've coded on my car that really have enhanced the overall driving experience of the car, kind of made the car behave the way that I want it to. And that's the best part about Bimmercode, is you can really individualize your car to have it function the way that you desire. Some of these are rather minute and some of them are actually pretty important and really have drastically changed the way that I drive this car, just overall experience this car. So we're going to start at the top with active sound design. Now, as you guys know, active sound design in these BMWs and Supras, there is fake engine noise being filtrated into the cabin using these speakers. So while it actually might sound kind of cool in the cabin, it's not authentic. And in my opinion, I don't want that coming into my cabin. It can also be a bit intrusive and loud at times, so I just deactivate it on all of my cars. You'll see it right at the top. Go ahead and hit active sound design and then deactivation, hit deactivated, and then when you're ready to code, you go to the top right and you'll see a button that says code. If I had changed something, it would be blue. You'd hit code, run through the steps, let the ECU restart and the application do its thing, and then you'll be ready to go. Now, when you're coding your car with Bimmercode, this doesn't affect your tune or anything. I have boot mode on my car at the moment, and it's also vice versa. If you tune, it's not gonna affect your Bimmercode. If you Bimmercode, it's not gonna affect your tune. Okay, so we'll head back here. That's the first thing that I did, active sound design, which I think makes a really big difference. Then if we hop into advanced crash safety module, we'll see if I did anything in here. I'm not quite sure if I did. Some of these categories are going to take a little bit longer to load because they have more things in the actual control unit that you can code, more functions. So just give it a little bit of time, be patient with it. It will eventually load up. If your car does not have a very good battery, or you don't think you have that strong of a battery in your car, make sure you put your car on like a charger or something. I've never had to do that personally. My cars have always been fine in terms of the battery, but if you're working on like an older F30 or something, it might be wise to just put your car on a charger just in case, so the car doesn't turn off while you're in fact coding it. I always like to have the seatbelt plugged in while I'm doing this, just so the car does not go to sleep. That's a good rule of thumb as well when you're coding or tuning your car. Okay, so we got advanced crash safety module up, and yes, there are a few things that I like to code in here, mainly coding things off. So all of the top stuff, the PDC, the rear view camera, I don't really mess with that. If you want to, of course you can. I go into my seatbelt reminders and I turn off my seatbelt reminder driver's seat. I turn off my seatbelt reminder passenger seat, and then the initial seatbelt reminder after start. Make those all not active. Code that in. Now I do need to, of course, put a disclaimer in here that it is not wise to drive your car around without your seatbelt on. The reason that I like to turn these off is because I'm often moving the car around in the parking lot when I'm working on it, and I just don't want those reminders coming up constantly every time I'm starting the car and I don't have my seatbelt in right away. So I just turn all those off. Of course, wear your seatbelt. I don't think I need to tell you that. This is really just so you don't get those reminders over and over again. So those are the 3 things that I coded in advanced crash safety module. We'll head back. I didn't do anything in air conditioning. Body domain controller, there are a few things that I did code in here. I do have the brake force display activation speed at 5 kilometers per hour. So the brake force display is actually a flashing of the brakes when you have hard braking. The brakes will actually pulsate a few times. It's not really something that makes a huge difference, but some people like to have it on there. So the next one that I did is the driving mode. So this is the initial startup. I did sport individual. This makes a really big difference. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I really only drive my car in sport mode. That's just what I prefer to have this car set up in. So I changed the default driving mode to sport individual. So in the car system, you can go in and decide what your sport individual settings are. You can change things from sport to comfort, your steering, your suspension, whatever. I have everything set to sport. So when my car starts, it's in sport mode, essentially in sport individual. That way, when I get in the car, I don't have to hit the sport button every time I start driving my car. This is a really big one because we've never had this available on all of the older F series. I believe it's only available for coding on the new G series BMWs, like the X3M. I know we could do it on that one, and then also the Supra. It honestly makes a huge difference. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal because you're just hitting a button, but if you're someone like me that primarily drives in sport mode, this makes a massive difference. I mean, you're removing one button hit from every day of your life. So my default startup is on sport individual, and I have not looked back. Lighting, I haven't really changed anything with the lighting. The mirrors, so this is a good one too. The automatic mirror tilt, if you go into the tilt value, I changed mine to 30%. What this means is when you put the car into reverse, your passenger side mirror will actually tilt down, and it'll show you the ground so you don't curb your wheels. The only problem is if you don't change it to 30%, it's literally facing like the ground. You can't see anything behind you. So I changed it to 30%, and it's a little less aggressive. It's not so far down to where you're just staring at the ground, which isn't really gonna help you. You want to be able to see the whole rear quarter and what's behind you. So I've gone ahead and changed that to 30%. It seems like the good sweet spot. You guys can obviously mess with that. They have different values in here, 40, 60, all the way up to 100. So also, when you're in a specific control unit, like right now we're in body domain controller, you can change multiple things in this control unit and then just code all those things at once. You don't need to do each individual thing. But before you go back to the main page with all of your control units, you're going to want to make sure that you individually code each controller, if that makes sense. Other than that, those are the 3 things that I've changed in the body domain controller, so we'll head back. Next one is the engine control unit auto start stop memory. So this is something that you want to enable if you want the car to remember whether you want auto start stop on or off. Auto start stop is when you come to like a stoplight or a stop sign and you stop and the car automatically just turns off. And then when you start driving again, it automatically turns on. Can't stand that. It always freaks me out when it happens. So I opt to take that out of all of my cars so it never happens. So basically you want to set the auto start stop function memory to be active. So it remembers, the car remembers what your previous settings were. So when you're driving, you just turn off the auto start stop, and then the next time you start the car up, it'll remember that and it won't turn on again. Next is the head unit. This is a pretty big one. There are some really good things to code in this as well. It's also important to note that Bimmercode makes a backup every time that you code something. So that's good because if you made a bunch of changes and you're like, oh no, I don't remember what I changed, but I don't like the way it is now, you can just hit your backup and it will go ahead and revert all of the coding for you. All right, so now we are in the head unit. The warning chime right now that I have is the BMW I warning chime. My ringtone is the BMW ringtone. You can mess with that. There's a bunch of different ones that you can decide between. Have fun with it, see what's different in them. The startup animation that I currently have is Christmas, which is the M. It's actually the BMW M. Some people give me shit for that. Some people think it's hilarious. I really just think it's kind of humorous, and I put it up there as a joke. It's really not that serious, you guys. I don't think this is actually like an M car. I'm just having fun. Some people get very triggered by that, which is kind of humorous. The other one that I have here is sports displays. So I like to have my sports displays active. That way, when you're driving, I actually saved them to my number 1, and I can quickly show you guys how to do that. It's pretty easy. Warnings at startup, I turned that off, so there's no warnings, no legal disclaimers that come up right when I start the car. The less things that I have to click on, the better, is the way that I see it. And then this last one, we actually go into expert mode. Now this one's interesting because in the car, our iDrive screens are actually quite dull in the Supra. And you notice it when you're out driving during the day. It's kind of hard to see the actual screen. It's very, very dark. So what I did was I went into head unit, I went into expert mode, and then I went to 3005 display PIP configuration. Now, if you scroll all the way to the bottom in here, you're gonna see dim variant, dim_variant. What you're gonna wanna do is change that to old. So the old setup has a brighter screen, and then you can go in and actually adjust the brightness on the screen. This makes a massive difference, especially when you're driving during the day. So you can go ahead and code that when you're done with it. That's really all I did in the head unit. Going into the instrument cluster. So in the instrument cluster, I really didn't change anything in here. I left all of this stuff the same. There's obviously some options in there if you guys want to change things. And then we'll hop into seat module driver and see if there's anything I coded in there. I don't think there is though. Seat heating / cooling setting memory. I didn't mess with it. So once you guys are done coding everything, just go ahead and hit disconnect and you are finished. That's all you need, man. It's that simple. All right, so those are the features that I've coded in the car that I think make the biggest difference to the driving experience of this car. If we go ahead and start it up, so I can show you guys the tilt real quick. So when I put it in reverse, you can see that it just basically shows the rear quarter. So you'll want to have this mirror button set to the left rather than right, left, and that will allow it to tilt on this side. And you'll notice if you don't code that in, that when it tilts down, it like really does just show the ground. It's way too aggressive of a tilt. So set that back up to like 30. I would say anywhere between 30 and 50% is probably solid. And then to give you guys an example of what the screen looks like. So this is the screen, how I have it set now. It's a lot brighter. I just think in general it looks a lot better too. It's much easier to see, much easier to read. So I'm gonna show you guys how to save your sport displays to one of these buttons. I just like having it like whenever I need it on demand, I can just hit the first button and then it loads up. So what you're gonna wanna do is go over to My Vehicle and then go down to Sports Displays right there, but don't click in to sports displays. You don't wanna actually go into that. Just leave it right there and then put your finger over that. It'll say not assigned. Hold down, and now sports displays has been saved to my first button. So you can save different things with these buttons. You can save different like menus and whatnot. I like to have sports displays on 1. So if I head back to the main menu and then I just hit 1, it'll automatically bring up sports displays. So that's just a little tip that I've learned that makes a big difference when I'm driving. That way I don't have to like toggle through and find sports displays. I can just hit 1 and it brings it right up. You guys also saw that when I started up the car, it automatically started in sport mode. That makes a huge difference in my opinion. I would say that the active sound design, the starting in sport mode individual, the mirror tilt, and the screen brightness are probably the biggest things that I've coded into the car that have made such a huge difference just with the way that this car has performed. So once you guys are done with the coding, go ahead and remove the OBD link adapter. You don't need to keep this in for the codes to remain active in your car. And then I actually just like to leave the adapter down in the little netting over here, and I just keep it there in case I want to use it again, code some other things. All right, guys, so those are all of the features that I've coded into the Supra. It's really changed the car just like on a daily driving basis. Having the car start in sport mode is something that I really wanted for a long time, and when I finally got that, it made a very big difference. If you guys are looking for the adapter, again, it's OBD Link CX. I've got a discount code in the description. plug that in. That'll save you a little bit of cash. You can also get this adapter on Amazon. I'll leave a link to that as well, but I don't think that my code works on Amazon. It only works on the OBD Link website. Either way, you can order it directly on the website or Amazon. Both are fine. And if you guys have no idea what Bimmercode is, make sure you check out that video that really talks about Bimmercode, the ins and outs, how to get started, what you need. There is a list of supported cars that are on the Bimmercode website. Make sure you check that out if you're curious if you can actually code your car. Anyways, guys, I hope this video brought a little bit of value to you today. If it did, consider subscribing, hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. But just like that, we're gonna wrap up the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.